Man, my feelings. We watched the game together,
We did.
and
That was fun.
there was
I want to say, that was fun. That part of it was fun.
there was a point of it where I went off for probably 5 or 6 minutes.
He did.
Just about the left tackle position in general, and blocking. And I got kind of angry a little angry.
You did.
Got a little angry, right?
You did.
Not the greatest look for me. But what is your initial reaction kind of to the game?
Just looking at the comparison between the last time we played them, I mean, granted, Aiden O'Connell wasn't playing last time we played them, but it's night and day. I mean, it's just night and day.
Yep.
Their offense was able to get going a lot quicker,
and
they were clicking basically. I mean, especially like all the way up until the last drive. Like
right.
They were able to go down the field and score on us.
Should have scored a whole lot more.
This should have scored a whole lot more.
Yep.
Because they missed the kicker missed 3, 4. He missed 4.
4 field goals.
Whoa.
I believe. Wait. I can pull that up actually. It might have been 3. Thought it was 4.
Oh, it's 3.
He did miss 3. Yep.
He missed 3. So 9 points. So either it should have been
Daniel Carlson's a really good kicker. I'm quite surprised.
He should have had 14 points.
Yep.
Instead, he only had 5. So it should have been 26-19, but it wasn't. So we got a little bit of luck there.
Well, I think it would have been. 14's right. Never mind. I can't math this early in the morning.
Yeah,
but
it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it's we've been struggling these past few weeks. I don't really know what else to say besides what we said last week, which is just, Mahomes does not have enough time on the offensive side of the ball. I was very happy to see them actually do something about it.
Yeah.
Which, once it started becoming an issue, I mean, he was sacked, 5 times?
It was almost too little too late. He was sacked.
It was.
He was sacked 5 times.
But they usually are pretty patient. Like, he's been sacked 5 times before, and they haven't pulled somebody out of the game.
That was last week.
Right.
That was literally last week.
And so,
they
finally had a breaking point.
So this is 2 weeks in a row where he was sacked 5 times for at least 40 yards. Now, one of those was kind of his own fault because he fumbled that ball and lost 17 yards when he was kind of doing his little roll thing. So that was kind of his fault. But still.
Yeah, but last week is more frustrating to me than this week because this is a division team that always plays this close.
Man,
I don't. Now with last week and now this week compounding on top of it, it feels more frustrating. If this happened in a vacuum, I don't think I'm as frustrated as I was last week because that game we should have won, no problem.
Yeah.
So, but it's the same issues just repeated.
Yep.
That we talked about last week, and I know that you will have more to talk about it.
Well,
but I mean, we allowed last time we played them 195 yards passing and 33 yards of rushing.
Yep.
This week was 318 total passing yards and 116 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Well, so that's the rushing stat is kind of what really tells.
Technically, we gave up 340 yards passing to Aiden because you take away the sacks or whatever for total passing yards, but he threw for 340 yards in the air.
Yeah.
And 2 touchdowns of more than 30 yards, which is insanity.
And we sacked him 3 times and sacked Gardner Minshew 5 times.
But it's
So it's just we didn't have an answer for especially their run game.
No, the Amir Abdullah
Yeah, and the secondary again, with Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers
as well.
He didn't play last time.
Nope. So, I mean, you had a rookie and a third stringer playing this game. So, and they kind of torched us.
Yeah,
but
it's just the same thing that we were talking about last week.
I mean, I gotta just compound on last week from you, right? I have frustration, just overall, right?
Yeah.
And, man, it starts with pass blocking. I have frustration with allowing 20 pressures on Patrick Mahomes. I have frustration like not turning pressures into sacks for the Chiefs. Yes, we did do a little bit better this week, but not good enough to prevent Aiden O'Connell from passing for 340 yards. Right? If we can get to the quarterback quicker, that doesn't allow time for those downfield passes. Right? You got to make sure that you are allowing your defensive backs. You're not giving too much time to where a receiver has a chance to kind of make an additional move and get open. Right? You kind of want it to be like one move, maybe two moves, and the play to be over. Right? You don't want to give up those big plays, and we're giving up those big plays. And I mean, that's just it's frustrating to see especially after the last 2 years. Chiefs have had 55 and 57 sacks respectively in the last 2 years, and man, it's just frustrating to see our defense struggle to get to the quarterback. You know, there's only 5 games left. We're not getting near 50 sacks. Like I said, we would have to have an absolute insane last 5 games. We would have to average 5 sacks a game to get close to 50, and that would still only put us at 49. So I'm just frustrated overall with the fact that the last 3 weeks, really, all 3 phases of our offense have not been looking great. You know, it's kind of like that Philadelphia Eagles thing from last year, right? They started off 9-1, 10-1, and then wound up ending 11-6, and then losing the first round of the playoffs to the Buccaneers. I don't see that happening, but man, I mean, any given Sunday, right? So, yeah, that's kind of like my initial thing. Also, the play calling was not good in the second half. We had 4 designed runs in the second half. 4. Only 4. Right? At one point, Patrick Mahomes was, over the span of 30 play calls, passed the ball 29 times.
Wow.
You're essentially telling your quarterback, all right, go figure it out. Go figure it out, right?
Well, he's not the worst guy to do that.
We also decided to throw on 3rd and 2 when we have Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in the backfield. That would have sealed the game, right? That whole last drive by the Raiders wouldn't have happened if we would have potentially just given it to Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco. Put Isaiah Pacheco in there with the I formation with Kareem Hunt lead blocking, and just see put Leo Chanel back there blocking for one of them. We've done it several times before. That dude loves to put his nose down and hit people. Let's go make a play. And, I mean, what happened to our screenplays? What happened to our play action plays where Mahomes fakes the handoff, rolls out, and just tosses it for a first down? We've done that on so many occasions. Where's the play calling? It's not in a good spot. Not in a good spot. I digress.
Yeah.
So
great.
I guess okay. On another, what's kind of your key plays that happened that kind of ultimately led to us winning the game?
Well, this one's more spectacle. This isn't anything that we did, but the last play of the game. Essentially the last play of the game.
Key plays.
It's more of a key play. It's a key play only because this keeps happening. Things like this keep happening.
Well,
where we win, we just find ways to either we make an incredible play on a blocked field goal. We win at the last second by going down the field, or our defense makes a good play, or we just pressure the other team into just miscommunications.
Yep.
Like
making mistakes.
They make mistakes, miscommunicate, and good on Aiden O'Connell for taking the fall for that one, because he said that he clapped, and that's what the center's taught to do whenever he came out of college.
Yep.
So, but it just speaks to the broader kind of the broader message of the season that just the Chiefs do seem inevitable.
Right.
That if we're not directly making these plays happen, we're at least impacting the other team into doing something that screws them up.
Well, and something Chris Jones said. Chris Jones credited our crowd, like the fans in the stadium, to helping force that kind of misplay, right? But it also comes down to preparation. Okay, so you look at, the block field goal, that's a fluke. No, it was preparation.
That was
right.
Yes.
We noticed something with the offensive lineman on that side, and we adjusted our game plan to that, right? The Chiefs are probably the most prepared team when it comes to late game, close game situations. We've played more close games than anyone. We've won more close games than anyone. Look at Mahomes' record throughout his career. I don't know what it exactly is, but it's absolutely insane. Like his win percentage in close games and one-score games is astronomical. His win percentage when losing at some point in the game is astronomical. So it's one of those things where it comes down to preparation. We prepare our guys in the season for close games and how to win late and how to stay composed in those situations. Most other teams don't because they don't have to. A lot of teams aren't playing close games late in the season. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's just kind of compound on your kind of key play.
It looks like less than a month ago he had a 70% win percentage in one-score games.
Yeah, and we've won 3 since then. 3 close game, one-score games since then, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think, according to this, it's the most by any QB in NFL history.
Yeah. Oh, it's
in one-score games
by a long shot.
Yeah.
Too. I think the next closest guy
minimum 50 games played.
Yeah, I think the next closest guy is like more than 10% below him. But yeah, it's just one of those things that we're prepared, right? For me, key plays are the DeAndre Hopkins-Mahomes connection. Just in general, they're looking more comfortable with each other. Hopkins did only have 4 catches, but it was for 90 yards to go with an absolute, almost insane catch down the sideline behind the defender with one hand. He actually stopped the ball, and as he was bringing it in, I think it hit the defender and kind of got knocked out, which it did end up being a DPI on the defender there, and he also caused another big DPI on a defender later in the game that resulted in like a 26-yard gain after penalty. But also there was Chris Jones had 2 sacks, which were very highly influenced by Charles Omenihu. Yes, those sacks were earlier in the game, which we're kind of used to seeing sacks later on in the game to kind of seal the situations, but it was very obvious that Omenihu makes a huge difference in the way that our playmakers on the defensive line can get to the quarterback. Charles Omenihu has been waiting, and he's been tweeting just kind of crazy tweets. God's blessed. I'm coming. It's almost time. He tweeted a clock like 4 times in the last month. And he's been itching and ready, saying he's hungry, he's ready to eat, all this stuff. So he's kind of it's been culminating to this moment, right? Mm-hmm. And he showed that he is kind of the answer we needed with our pass rush. Now we do still need to turn those pressures into actual sacks. I think we're 7th in hurries in the NFL right now. That causing, or 3rd in hurries, something like that, where we're causing hurries on more than 50% of plays, causing the quarterback to move, but we're not turning those into sacks, right? Not turning those into sacks. And a lot of times it's the quarterback moving up in the pocket and being able to throw downfield, which is not great. especially in the last 3 games. So, those are kind of my big key plays. So looking at everything that happened this week, what is something or some things that the Chiefs really need to improve on for you? For me, I'll go first on this one. I'll go first on this one.
Okay.
Compounding on last week, I don't think a lot changes from last week when it comes to improvements. I think a lot of the similar things that happened against the Panthers happened against the Raiders.
Yeah.
Right? The Raiders should have scored a minimum of 26 points. Minimum.
Yeah.
Right?
And like that had nothing to do with us. It seemed like.
Well, the reason they missed is because their kicker missed the field goals.
Right.
Right? The reason they lost the game is because their center snapped the ball before anybody was set and ready. And so, I mean, people are going to blame it on the refs, the reason they lost, but the Raiders had 4 very unforced errors.
No, we should have checked the center for an earpiece. I'm so sorry. I'm embarrassed.
For him?
We should have figured out a way to check the center for an earpiece to make sure the refs weren't telling them what to do.
Oh, yeah.
Man, dude.
No.
Like,
True.
oh, man.
It's really glad.
Like that's the only way the refs could have told him to clap.
Yeah.
Or to snap the ball whenever Aiden O'Connell was clapping.
My money's going to a good place, and I'm glad to see it happen.
That's good. I know. I'm
glad to see it happen.
So much money on these refs.
But, I mean, we've got to convert in the red zone, too, though.
Yeah.
We've got to convert in the red zone. In the last 2 games, we are 3 for 10 on converting touchdowns in the red zone. We were 1 for 5 this week. We were 2 for 5 last week. In the Bills game, we were 3 for 3. Good. But you can't go. I mean, even adding that to it, we're still only 6 for 13 in the last 3 games. That's a terrible percentage. Terrible. Now, I will say our red zone percentage is actually 1 percentage higher than it was last year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Last year was so great.
So great.
Regular season.
But we have the weapons to be way better than that. Yeah. And we're play calling and execution and penalties really are what's holding us back in the red zone. Penalties have been huge, and it's noticeable that we've got guys that are struggling to maintain pass blocks and stuff. So, but that, I mean, like I said, that comes down to pass blocking, and really the motto for our offensive line should be do your job, right? Mm-hmm. So you do your job well, it makes everybody else's job around you a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to have Travis Kelce chipping a guy just to help you block him, right? You don't have to have Joe Tooney reaching out or Trey Smith reaching out and chipping a guy while having to also block a guy. You don't have that happening because you're doing your job. Mm-hmm. You got to execute on your job, and you got to do it well.
And I think that the same could be said for the defensive line because if they get to the quarterback quicker, like we talked about secondary issues, which are big issues. Like whenever a throw happens, they have to be able to do their job. Like the Jacoby Myers play that we talked about multiple times where Aiden O'Connell did throw an underthrown ball. He did make a good
underthrown
play, but it makes the secondary look so bad because as soon as he catches the ball, there are 4 Chiefs defenders literally in a square around him.
Yep.
And so it just makes them look bad.
And it's not Aiden O'Connell putting the ball where no defenders could get it. He underthrew that ball by 2 yards.
Yeah.
And Jacoby Myers was able to rotate backwards and fall down to get it. That was not how the play was designed.
No, it wasn't at all. No. And if they can get to the quarterback, if the defensive line can get to the quarterback, then he's not going to be able to make throws like that comfortably from the pocket every single game. Not to say he wasn't pressured. I'm not saying that. But just like you're saying with the offensive line, if they do their job well, then the secondary there's not as much pressure because there's not as many balls coming their way.
Right.
And so I think that that's a big deal. And yes, figure out the left tackle position.
Right.
Because that really has been hurting us.
Yes.
So
agreed.
So yeah, those are the biggest things.
Agreed.
And like you said, it's the same as last year.